Hello friends, welcome to Coding Friday. This is Chandra Kashwaryani and this is the part second of identity server. So in the first part, we have seen that how we can, secure the public microservices using the identity server 4. So we have created the identity server, we have created the one microservice, the public one, and then we integrated that with that identity server and tested with the postman. So this is something we have done already. So I'll be resuming from the point where we left in the part 1. So if you want to follow these steps, you can continue to watch this part 1 if you have not seen yet. And if you directly want to resume, you can take the code from this GitHub that is already available here. So what is the part second? Part second is something where I'll explain that how we can achieve the authentication process. So the first one was authorization process. Now when I say that authentication, that means I'll be enabling the policy based authentication in the identity core, so that the person has to provide his user ID and the password. Thereafter, one access token will be generated, which have some sort of claims as per his request. Let's say if the user is a type of admin, then he will have the admin token, or if the user type is the user, then he'll have the claims type to user. So this is something our requirement which we'll try to achieve. So the first thing, let me open my microservices. Just a sec. Okay, so this is our identity server which we already have. Now for that, first step which you should do, you have to create the client. Now in the last video I have explained there are a number of type of clients which you can create in the identity server. One was the client credential. This time I will be using the resource owner password, and we have to change the client ID as well. It is really important that we change the client ID for the each client, because it is mandatory in the identity server. Now resource owner password says that the type of the authentication process is now required the user ID and the password. Now you could see that right now we do not have the any users and available with us, since it is not connected with any database. So what I'll do, right now I'll make use of the test users. See, I'll be doing with the test users, but in a real scenario in the production, this identity server will be connected with the database, and the process would be same as I'm doing this. Just the difference would be the data will be saved in a database. That's it. So let me copy these test user what I have already have. So this is my list of users. First of all, I have to import the namespace, and as it is by default from the identity server, so I have added the namespace and the security claims as well. So now you can see I have two users right now. One is the user one, which has a user and the password. They are just dummy password, dummy things right now. And I have added the role type, which is can update data. It should be actually can read data for the user. Okay, so you can do or you can define as per your needs. So another type of user, which is the admin one, and he has all the privilege to even update the data as well. So there are the two type of users I have created. Now the second step is that we configure this in the startup file. So for this you remember that we have done with the get API resources and the get clients. The same now we have to do for the add test users. Now for the add test users, get the test users which we just created, get users. Okay, now we are done. Now important thing, you can see that I have added the claims in the users as well, and this is the something secret user client ID and the secret these settings will be using a postman to get the token, but it is important that we get the claims as well. Now how actually it works in that you have to provide one more thing which is called, let me add first of all, add profile service. Now this is a special one. Without without this, you will not be able to get the claims inside the token what you receive. So it is important, and this is just one basic file which identity server itself provides you. With the help of this, claims will be added to the token. So you are done. You have created the another client, and then you have created the users. Then you have also configured this in the startup file. Now the second step is that we modify our microservices to see how it works. Now, before this, let's run this application and try to fetch the token for these users to make sure that our identity server is working fine. So 44304 is the URL where your identity server would be running at local. So let me first of all add this postman. Okay, Postman takes time, that's why I paused the video. So this is again the same URL which we used in a last video, that is the connect token, and in the body you could see that I'm asking for the client credentials, secret client ID, secret and API scope. There is no ID in the password, and this is for the first client, yeah, this one. So just click on this sign just to make sure that the previous one is also working for us. Yeah, it is working for us, and this token will be used to secure our public microservices. Now the second is again the URL is the same. This time I'm providing the username and the password along with these other details. So here you can see I have to change in the client ID as well. So this is secret user client ID this time. Now if I now click on this send, we should be able to get the data for the admin one. Now let's just a second. Now let's verify this. Do we have the claims available in this token? Let me open the gwt.io, which we have seen in the last video as well, that this is something which you can decode your data. So let me refresh this. Okay, now control A and control V. Now you can see we have this role type can update data for the admin one. Similarly, if I try to fetch the data for the user one, user and the user, so ID and the password as of now it is the default one, and if I try to get the data for this one, it has the token get read data, and this was the our first token in what we are expecting. There should not be any claims, rather it should have simple. And there is one more thing you would notice, that see this sub equals to 1. Now see this public URL, you can see there is sub 1 is disappear. This is the one difference between the token which has the ID in the password and which does not have those, and the other difference is we do not have the claims inside. So we are done of the successful creation of the identity server. Next is to make changes in our microservice. Now this was our microservice. There's one change, I had deleted that weather controller. Instead of I'll be creating the new controller. So this is the startup file, and in what you could see that I already have one policy called public secure for securing our microservices. I'll just copying and pasting or creating the two more policies. So the policy name, maybe you can say, you can name it anything. So I'm naming it user secure, or the other one is secure my admin, anything. And what claims you are expecting here, so the same claim you should expect what you have assigned here. So I'm expecting role type has to be can read data for the user one, and role type has to be can update data for the admin one. So this is how you have added the policies. Now the next step is you make use of these policies in the controller. So I'll be creating a new controller. Let's create an empty controller, API one, let's say test one, anything you can create, not take time. Okay, it took longer time than I expected. So this is the API controller which we have added. That's the empty one. So let's create one method called anything public string get public data maybe, and let's type maybe this action result, and let's return something, anything like this is public data, and let's get this HTTP get and assign public here. Similarly, let's assign the HTTP authorize here, control dot, and then provide the policy. Sorry, policy has to be the public one for this. Okay, now paste it here and save it here. So this is your first method, and just a second, we have some problem here, and now you could see Okay, this is fine now. Now this is the second one. Let's try and create. Generally, there will be three microservices or three different controllers as per your need. But just to demonstrate, I'm using the same controller, user secure, and it will get the user data. And let's assign it user. This is user data, and the same let's do for the admin one. This is admin, and let's get the or maybe update admin data. Admin has updated the data. Okay, so this is something which we have configured. Now let's run this application and we should be able to get the data as per the roles we have. So now the application is running at 44327. Let me add another get request, and at first let me try to fetch the data without any token, and the URL should be API and then test and then public. Okay, so API test and public. Click on this enter. We should not receive any data since it is authorized by this public one. So let's fetch the public data at first. See, this is the public one. I'm fetching the public record. Copy this one and provide here inside the authorization part, which is the bearer token, and paste it here. Send. We should have the data. Right now, let me duplicate this and try to get the user data, and I will be using the same token. This is the same token, and let's see what happens. So you can see 403 forbidden. If I just hover, you can see unlike a 401 unauthorized response, authenticated will make no difference. So we are not able to access the data. So how we can access the data? We need a user token, and for that, this is the token which has the claims called user inside this. Copy this one and paste it here. Will be, and we have this is user data. Similarly, if I try to get the data of the admin, this user token won't work. I would be needing the admin token. That means this admin ID and the password. Click on this send one. We have the refresh token now with you. Copy this one, paste it here. We should be able to update the data. Yeah, admin has updated the data. So this is something, how you do the claim wise authentication for your microservices. Define your policies. Inside the policies, you create the roles. So maybe you can create multiple roles, admin or user or XYZ, and for that you define a permission at one place, and then based on those permissions, user would be able to access only that data which he is allowed to do. So this is something we could do with the identity server. So that this was the part second, and now in the part third I'll recreate the identity server, but this time with the original user. So same, everything would remain same. The only difference would be I'll be connecting this identity server with the actual database to see how it works. So for this also, code will be uploaded to the GitHub one, and link will be shared in the YouTube one. YouTube description, you can find there. If you have any queries or comments, anything you would like to know or need help, you can always ping me on Skype or LinkedIn or WhatsApp or directly in the YouTube comments. I'll be happy to answer those queries. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much.